Welcome Alfisti to Autogefühl on the all-new Alfa Romeo Stelvio, and a warm welcome of course to all other viewers of Autogefühl. If they love or like Alfa or not, maybe you are a few steps away. This is, I think, a fantastic new car if only design counts. But what about the driving experience? We can drive this car here in the Alps, high in the hills at the border of Switzerland and Italy, and this car is called after a street, the Strada dello Stelvio, up in the hills, and we can drive this car there and look what is the really dynamics of this car. The Stelvio, it's the first SUV from Alfa. You see it at a higher position, and in the face it's a typical Alfa with this design element called Trilobo. It's a reason why the number plates are at the side and gives all Alfas the typical face. A good face for overtaking. Trust me, I owned an Alfa for several years and it's the best car for overtaking. Yes, the front is really spectacular. Yeah, in every rear mirror you can recognize this is an Alfa. The side profile is not so spectacular. It's a typical side profile of an SUV. The total length of the car is 4 meters 68 centimeters, and you know it's the length of the Audi Q5 or the Jaguar F-Pace. The typical competitors with this new Alfa Romeo Stelvio. The rear of the Stelvio I think is very nice, very massive, with big exhaust pipes and a little sign here, Q4. The Stelvio is an all-wheel drive car. A look under the hood. First you can get this car with 2 engines, and 280 horsepower turbocharged petrol engine and a 210 horsepower diesel engine. Later in the year there are 2 more engines with less power, 180 horsepower diesel engine and a 210 horsepower petrol engine. And end of the year there will be a Quadrifoglio version of the Stelvio. It's an engine with 510 horsepower. 510. The man who developed the design of Alfa is Scott Kruger. He's now with us, and you can explain us the new Alfa Romeo Stelvio. What kind of design we can find here?
Well, I think the big thing to start out with is the proportion of the vehicle. Like some of the engineering had described to you guys, that this under the skin is an amazing engineering feat. What we want to do is honor that with a beautiful vehicle around it. The proportion of the vehicle, very dynamic, very rear drive, long hood, very low roof line. Number one, it wanted to be designed as an Alfa Romeo. Second, we wanted it to be designed as an SUV. What you'll see on the side of the vehicle is a very unique proportion, very sleek roof line, very coupe-like, with the body side very full, very organic, sculptural, some tense lines that extend the vehicle, make it look long and very dynamic. As you go to the front of the vehicle, a very recognizable trait of Alfa Romeo, we have the Trilobo, which you see also on Giulia, and also down the range on Giulietta and Mito. But what you see here is a very recognizable face, probably the most recognized face in the automotive world. Tied with that, we have a very unique signature for the headlamps. Very aggressive, extremely recognizable when you see it in your rearview mirror. And as you walk towards around the back of the vehicle, you also see a very interesting Alfa Romeo cue. You see the almost a Cototronco kind of back end, where you have a line that goes all the way around the tail lamps. Tail lamps very signature as well. You have a lighting signature that's similar to the Giulia, very family feel. Large dual exhausts. Once again, this vehicle is a performance vehicle. And I think you'll experience that when you get a chance to drive it. But overall, we wanted to create a beautiful vehicle that has a very unique statement in the world of UVs. You'll see on the interior, once again, it's a very pure driver-oriented interior. Like the exterior, wanted to be sculptural, it wanted to be very clean, very pure, very Alfa Romeo, beautiful. You have the gauge cluster, which you have, as we say, like the goggles. Very Alfa Romeo, very much a signature cue from its past. Also, you'll see that similarity in Giulia. But one of the things that we tried to do is make it about the driving experience. Everything that you need is at your fingertips. Everything that's not necessary to the driving experience is played down, subtle. It's there, the technology is there, but once again, we wanted it to be about driving.
What are the main differences to the Giulia?
Main differences, probably one thing to note on the interior is the Giulia is a little bit more driver-focused, a little bit more organic in that sense, where the Stelvio is a little bit more horizontal, really playing up the width of the vehicle, the stance of the vehicle. And it signifies that it's more about the passenger space. Because it's a UV, wants to be a little more functional. Once again, also very driver-oriented, so there's a lot of similarities there too.
Did you achieve this enough space in the car?
I believe we did. I think what you notice is that from an exterior standpoint, when you see it on the road, it tends to look smaller. It looks nimble, looks tidy. A lot of that's due to the longer wheelbase, the wheels to the corners. But when you get in the vehicle, you realize there's a lot of functionality in this vehicle. There's a lot of room. There's cargo space. It's kind of cloaking the utility that's in this product.
Is this the most beautiful car you have built?
I think to date it is, absolutely. I think the world will tell us that.
You'll be proud of?
Absolutely. No, we're very proud. We have a great team, very passionate team, from the design team, interior, exterior, color and materials, user experience, and the engineering team, extremely passionate just as much as design.
With us is Federico Landini, responsible for this model. First, is this car a real car for these snowy conditions?
Yeah, the Stelvio is a car that will offer a very high mobility in this condition and also in all the off-road terrain that you can approach.
Alfa is very proud of this model. What makes it so unique?
Well, the differences in between this model and all the other SUV that you can find in this range are mainly the capability to release an outstanding handling and outstanding performance that you can feel as a sportive sedan.
Who do you think should buy this car?
Well, very dynamic people that for sure are following a career that is growing, people that don't want to follow the mainstream but want to be outstanding over.
I've heard this should be an attack of Alfa to the premium sector cars.
Yeah. This is this is the second model of Alfa in the premium segment car, and we summarize all the technical content and the capability of our engineers to release outstanding models in this segment.
What are your main competitors?
The main competitors are the Mercedes, the Audi Q5, and for sure the Jaguar F-Pace, and also for sure, why not, the Porsche Macan.
What do you think, in which countries this car should be successful?
In Europe, all over the Europe, but also in US and China. I would say it's a worldwide experience.
Did you hear this? The Alfa Romeo Stelvio is an attack on SUVs from premium producers like Mercedes and Porsche. The first Autogefühl check for premium quality is to check the door handles and to check the door sound. I think this sounds well. Oh, okay. Yes, let's look inside the car. We have a pretty combination of black and red, typical for Alfa. It's a high trim level. For this, it's genuine leather, but you can also get seats with fabric. And you know, Autogefühl recommends not to use animal products. What we see is a steering wheel with a flattened end and a start and stop button in the steering wheel. Frequent Autogefühl viewers will not be surprised. This is a cockpit similar to the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Shifting pedals at the steering wheel and a strong and simple horizontal design in this Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Very nice. I like the built-in infotainment systems. The touchscreen is not so very big, but I think that's a clever solution to build it in the dashboard. We can show you some details of the infotainment system. You see it's the radio, function media, cell phone. This is the navigation. The navigation, I think this could be better. There's a very slow reactions and a simple graphic. There are much more modern systems on the market. Overall, extraordinary less buttons in the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. This is for cooling and for heating. And here in the middle, this is the button for volume. This is a button for the infotainment system. And this is the button for the driving modes. You have 3 driving modes: N for neutral, A is for economical driving, and D for dynamic driving. And you can see it on the screen with colors in which driving mode you are. So this is a red color for dynamic driving. You see the blue cover for the neutral driving and the green color for the economic. So I've not changed the driver's seat in position, and now I will test the legroom and the headspace on the rear seats. As for the coupe form of the Stelvio, there's not so much space, but I'm 1.83 m or 6 feet, and I think it's okay for the knees and really okay for the head. I think 4 persons have enough place in the new Alfa Romeo Stelvio. So let's check the luggage compartment. High trim level, premium car, of course, an electric door. 505 liters, and if you will fold down the rear seat you get 1600 liters. Huge for an Alfa, huge for this sector of cars. Enough place for our camera equipment, and look there, snow chains. We are in the Alps under snowy conditions. We have a 40-20-40 split to fold down the rear seats. This is 40, 20 and 40. There's a range of camera and radar-based safety systems in the Stelvio. Adaptive cruise control, forward collision warning and braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot and rear cross path detection, lane departure warning. Other premium cars offers more systems. That is obviously not the focus of the Stelvio. So now we can drive the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, starting in a small town in Switzerland. And the perfect test to check the direct steering of this car. And Alfa says they has the most direct steering ever in this car. Really. You move the steering wheel a little and the car reaction comes quickly. It's not so clear which roads we can go today, for the snow comes very surprising in the last night, and various streets in the Switzerland are closed, and even the famous Strada dello Stelvio with the 75 hairpins we should drive, but we cannot drive. The street is blocked today for too much snow there. But we can drive between the hills in the flatlands and check what this car is able to do. Alfa says this is an SUV that can be driven like a sports car, and Alfa tested it on their own racetrack in Bellocco, the racetrack between Milano and Torino, and there they have the experience that this car really drives like a sports car. Maybe we have the chance to test it. In the next weeks there are test drives on a racetrack on the Hockenheim Ring in Germany, and maybe we can drive the car there and look for top speed. Not so easy to go top speed in Switzerland, for the police controls the speed limits here. So you see this handling of the car is very good. It's a car with 4 meters and 68 centimeters length. And you have the feeling this car is much smaller. So the next roundabout. And now we check the acceleration of the car. Whoa! Okay, 280 horsepower. And that's no miracle. Alfa has built in this car a new kind of braking, and some journalists have driven this car in the last days and today. They told you must be very careful by braking. But that's not my experience. I think the brakes are working as normal brakes in a sporty car. What about the seating position? I think it's very good. It's SUV seating position, a little bit higher. You have a good overview, great windows. Good feeling by going with this car. So I'm in the neutral driving mode and I check now the dynamic mode. Okay. I think you can hear it, that the car response is quicker. So I go to the economic mode, the green mode of this car. There's not so much difference to the neutral mode. What about the sound isolation? Did you hear the engine so much? I think it's good. And this speed from around about 80 or 100 kilometers. And we have to check it out on the racetrack. If it becomes very loud, if the car runs 150 or 200 kilometers per hour. The controlling of the car is very simple for the driver. You can do a lot of things at the steering wheel, direct, and all buttons are to find very simple here and here and here, and even the infotainment system makes no problems. So let's look for more curvy streets upon in the hills. Found some hairpins in the hills. In the last minutes, it was only an everyday driving with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. And now we can check the behavior of the car in the hills, climbing up, going down, and checking the driving dynamics. A change in the dynamic mood, dynamic modus. So I think you get a feeling for the fun you can have with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio and the dynamic modus. So we have tried to reach the Stelvio streets with the famous hairpins, but the street is closed and now we are going downhill. But in this part we have a lot of curves, and for this day this must be enough to test the capabilities of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. So now we are going very quick, so quick the police allows in Switzerland. And so quick as it is possible under these weather conditions. Sometimes there may be icy surfaces on the streets, especially in the dynamic modus. Driving with the Stelvio makes a lot of fun. The direct steering is so good, as Alfa told us. But I don't know if my co-driver likes this way of driving through the curves. I think you can feel the dynamics. And always a safe feeling, and that is important. And now we change in the everyday driving mode. I think these short impressions of the driving and the Alfa Romeo Stelvio shows you that this is a really competitive car. Would I recommend this car? Yes, I do. The arguments are the fantastic design, the space in this car, and the dynamic driving. Bad impressions, I found no one. But as an Alfa driver for some years, I'm not so free in my decision. I love the brand so much. Alfa buying sometimes has not so much to do with your head, but with your heart. So, see you next time on Autogefühl. Maybe with an Alfa Romeo Stelvio check from Autogefühl on a racetrack.